Okay, so this basically I went home, asked, more advanced players, as it's like, what's the deal with it? What's the deal with it? I learned that feel is, you can basically play on the beat, you can play ahead of the beat, play behind, play on, ahead, or behind. And what these guys were shooting for was to play a little bit behind the beat. There's a famous drummer named Steve Gadd. He's noted for playing behind the beat. Great groove player. And ironically, I was never a Steve Gadd fan, so it was like, okay, well, I'm going to investigate this. And so that's what I did. So, although criticism was, you can't be ticked off. It's like, here's criticism. You can either, curl up in a ball and cry like a baby, or you can go and find out what this is all about and learn, try and fix the problem. So that's what I did. And then as I went along in music, I kept learning and learning, and learned how to read music. And it's funny, you get flack over learning how to read music. It's like, why? If you learn how to read music, you can learn things faster. Why would you want to spend hours and hours on something when they can give you the sheet music and place it right in front of you? You can learn it faster, get to that level faster, and then move on to something more. That's rock musicians. A lot of rock musicians don't want to read, and it's so simple to learn how to read. It's simple, especially rock drummers. No excuse, none. So I learned, there's criticism for you. So I learned how to read, and it just basically got me going there. So a couple of criticisms I got, and then I got the criticism of being too technical. And you have to play simple. A lot of drummers that just played simple grooves come out of me, you're too technical. You don't need that kind of stuff. You just play a simple groove. And I took that and I go, okay, well, I grew up with Keith Moon and all these prog rock drummers. And I go, okay, well, we'll look into that. So then you go backwards and you reinvent your style a little bit. And what was the joke there that you used to say? Technical drummers can play simple, and simple drummers can't play technical. And simple drummers always say that, says, oh, you don't really need to play technical, and basically that's just something simple drummers always say because they can't do the other thing. Yeah, we'll edit this out because it's not working. So anyways, as I went along, the technical thing came up. And so I went back to the simple music. Now, I grew up on simple drumming and that. The thing I felt, in my own opinion, is that, okay, I've learned this. What next? Because as a drummer, it's not like a guitar player where you can learn the 5 basic chords, and you can actually make a career out of 5 chords. But you're writing songs, you're writing, and lots of songs are based around those 5 things. But as a drummer, it's hard to get, for me, it's hard to get inspired by the simple beat, the same beat in every song. Whereas a guitar player can change those 5 chords around, I don't know, it just did not feel satisfying. It didn't feel creative. I don't know. I had just a drive to learn more of the instrument that I played. And as I come up from a jazz background, and simple rock music just did not compute to me for the simplicity. But I did play it and I did learn it. But so then I would get the criticism, says, well, I'd get a drum set that was bigger, and well, you don't need the bigger drum set, you can play a smaller drum set. And it's like, you look into all these things, you investigate why are they saying this, what's involved with it. And as you go through your life of music, you experiment with them. You don't just blow it off. You just don't go, those people don't know shit. But and you basically have to explore those criticisms and see what it's all about. Now I get flack for saying stuff over and over again. You know, every time I open my mouth to say something, people are in defense attack mode, and you know, they're just either aggressive, denying it, or calling me an idiot. It's like, you're getting criticism, you know, just either investigate it like I did, find the pros and cons, and then move on. Tons of people criticize me. I get mail all the time criticizing what I say, both good and bad. So you can't let that stop you. You research and see if there's anything behind it. It's just going to make you a better musician. It just will. You know, you just can't sit there and cry. You know, it's like, you hurt my feelings. No, I didn't. I didn't hurt your feelings at all. You're the one hurting your feelings. Get over it. Learn something from what somebody says. Or brush it off. After you've experimented with it, brush it off. If it doesn't work for you, fine. You can just tell the person, you know what, I tried that. It doesn't work. Sorry. But thanks anyways. So, but unfortunately in our local community, we get criticism beyond the scope of that. So when I might, you know, I'm critical of my own bands, but if I'm criticizing somebody and they don't like it, then they get this hate criticism where it gets really ugly, where they have nothing to do with the music concept at all, and they go beyond that and they insult your character, they insult your whole being. Excuse me. They know nothing about you, but they're going to just try and destroy you. And that's actually happened a few times in this wonderful city of the Sioux. And you know what? It's the same deal. I'll just absorb it, flip it around a bit, research it, wonder, what are they getting at? And give it back. And you're going to get it back. Because really, if I can take it, then you should be able to take it. It's just that kind of thing. So, I mean, I've had criticisms in song where people have written songs about me. I won't mention the band's name in town, but they've actually written a song, you know, because of, obviously they're disgruntled with what I have to say. So in all good sportsmanship, I wrote a song back, and basically it's a give and take thing. So so the criticism had gone in my case had gone to the extremes where I've never experienced that before, and you know, you take it with a grain of salt, and in my case I found lots of humor in it, but you see another side of people in the sense that egos basically create this kind of evil criticism, and where you can't say anything to this person with this ego, even though they can't play, or they're minimal players. There's no getting through to them. They think they've mastered the instrument, and I mean, not just saying myself, other people would say, like, where the hell are you coming from, to these people, and they just don't get it. So basically, that kind of thing where you get into the criticism, or it gets into a lot of hate, they usually self-destruct, these musicians, that their egos are just too big for their own bridges, and they end up falling flat in their face. I've gotten a lot of criticism as being heavy ego, and the one thing you can't confuse is opinion, criticism, and ego. They're not the same. And for ego, I still don't know where that actually comes from, but I criticize myself all the time. Not once do you hear me say, you know, I'm the greatest drummer. Because, you know why? I know who the greatest drummers are. And I'll name two. Buddy Rich, Dave Weckl. You know, that's just two. And there's not a chance I've even put a dent in achieving what those guys can do. Would I love to get to that level? Sure. And I strive for that every day. So I'm practicing and learning my craft. But I don't have an ego when it's basically I'm still learning. And I always will be learning. It's just like my music teacher taught me back in the 70s when I was going to high school. You know, you will always be learning. So the people or the musicians in town that have the egos, you know, enjoy it, because it won't last. You know, you become legends in your own mind, and it ends up poisoning whatever project you're doing. It's just sad. But you can't change those kind of people, not without blunt force trauma. No, just kidding. That's a joke, kids. But they just won't learn. But there are, you know, hundreds of other musicians in town that are learning their craft and continue on, and some have become music teachers, which is phenomenal. You know, the ego thing didn't poison them, and they just bettered themselves by taking the criticism and molding it into a lesson learned. Now, you know, when you're a beginner player, you have to take some kind of criticisms, because you're stepping into a bee's nest of a career, we'll say. You're going to get it from all sides. Like I say, you have to pick and choose what you think will work for you and won't work for you. And do like me, and just basically try it once, twice, work with it. You know what? A lot of the criticism I've gotten, I've learned from. It definitely helped my playing go to new heights or different directions, we'll say. There are some criticisms, you know, with the, like say, the big drum set thing. Like I always played big drum sets. And, I mean, I started off on small drum sets, but I really liked the big drum sets for the different sounds. But I'll be honest, that criticism years ago, it's like, I'll look into that. And I did. So now I have two drum sets set up in my house. Two. One small one, one big one. And so I covered that criticism. Didn't hurt my feelings. Didn't piss me off. I didn't piss anybody else off. I just took it with a grain of salt.